Okay, we've got a lot to talk about today, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Yeah, to start with, a great Transmedium UFO shared by Wixie. You saw this object coming along, this white luminous thing in the sky, and as it's going along, it's descending toward the water, and then it vanishes right into it. Another piece of evidence, one of many, of UFOs coming and going from the water. What is up with this? What is the connection? Let me know what you think. Are they living in the water? Are they using the water as a means of conveyance, of coming and going from subterranean caverns below the oceans? Are they gathering resources from the water? Are they gathering water? Because there have been examples of that where UFOs have been seen drawing water and even expelling water. Sometimes they'll expel vapor, weirdly enough. And there's even videos of that. So what is the interaction between UFOs and the water? Maybe they're fishing. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Meanwhile, back to the SCIF flu, or the UFO. The reason why Lue Elizondo and others didn't appear in the SCIF when it would have been nice if they had. We've heard Anna Polina Luna talk about them all having colds and sicknesses. Then Lou said no, it was actually because he was at a convention. We don't know about the other two. Well, here's what Eric Burleson had to say about it.
We had 3 meetings in 1 week. It was just unfortunate that there were health issues that a couple of the attendees were dealing with. Lue Elizondo, I think that he was not attending because I think he needs to take a break. He feels personally responsible for showing a photo that proved to be a fake image, and so he's trying to take some time away from the topic. We had 3 meetings.
So yeah, that's really unfortunate about that whole fake photo business. I still think he was likely a victim of some sort of effort to discredit him, and it seems to have worked, keeping him out of SCIFs. So yeah, I mean, let me know what you think happened. Was that just a mix-up? Was that an accident? I know a lot of people will say it's because Lou is a PSYOP agent and so on. I don't think so. I don't think we wouldn't be. It's pretty objectively obvious we would not be where we are with UFO disclosure if not for Lue Elizondo releasing those 3 videos back in the day and letting the world know about ATIP. Yeah, but it is what it is, and Lou apparently is taking some time off, at least from the official proceedings, but he wasn't taking time off from UFOs. He was getting paid to talk about UFOs, and hey, I don't blame him. You got to keep the lights on. Meanwhile, Jay Anderson is talking about ancient mysteries. Of course, the whole pineal gland thing is a really intriguing rabbit hole to go down. You can see all the examples of pine cones that may represent the pineal gland, but he also has another really interesting post here that I thought was significant about how unlikely it is that the ancients, using the tools that we know they had, could have done what we know they did, or what somebody did. Jay Anderson says it's the equivalent of saying someone chiseled a jet engine using a butter knife and a good attitude. Hey, you can't beat a good attitude, Jay. Mainstream Egyptologists claim that workers used dolerite pounders to bash the granite surfaces repeatedly over time. This supposedly pulverized the rock, allowing them to slowly sculpt out blocks like the Aswan obelisk. Here's the problem. Pounding granite with stone balls can remove material, sure, but it's crude, slow, and leaves ragged surfaces. The Aswan obelisk channel cuts are linear, sharp, and in some cases show symmetrical striations not consistent with random pounding. Pink Aswan granite is interlaced with quartz veins. Random pounding wouldn't produce clean outlines around 1,200-ton blocks, and it would shatter or flake unpredictably. Yet the obelisk cavity shows tight contours, especially at corners and base junctions. The effort required hundreds of workers bashing away for years doesn't match the lack of waste material or explain how they transported other obelisks from quarry to temple without leaving similar scars or quarry wreckage on the same scale. Yeah, so some great points from Jay Anderson. We still don't know how ancient Egyptians did the things that they supposedly did with the tools that they supposedly had. A lot of mysteries in the ancient world. Speaking of ancients and mysteries, I've talked about this before, as have many others. The mysterious finger of a giant that was supposedly mummified in Egypt back in the day. This video has music playing, so I'll have to read it. As a Swiss guy named Gregor Spori took a number of photos of a mummified giant finger. In 1998, Spori was visiting Egypt. He finds the owner of this finger, and so Gregor paid this guy $300 to see the finger and take pictures of it. The owner of the mummified finger told Gregor that it was actually found 150 years ago. Had been kept in his family and passed down. The family had even gone through the trouble of getting the finger x-rayed to confirm its authenticity. The 1960s, again, Spori got to observe it. He got to actually hold the finger. He said that it was very old. It was organic and, quote, humanoid. He said the finger looked like it had been cut off with an anatomical precision. And in some places, the finger was crumbling, had leathery skin. It was ripped in places, and said the skin was a few millimeters thick. He said between the dried skin folds, he could see remains of fungus. So really intriguing. A finger that is actually quite large. If this is legit, and if it's humanoid, it was it was very large. Where's the picture of him holding it? So what is this thing? Some think it is some sort of ape, some sort of Australopithecus kind of thing. Yeah, there he is holding it. So you can see how big this is. But the only ape that could have produced such a finger, died off like 150,000 years ago or something like that. So unlikely to be one of those guys. More likely to be a giant, which we know are still around. Apparently, according to the various stories, for example, in recent times in the Middle East. What is this thing, guys? What is that thing? Is it a real mummified giant finger? And if it was, that raises a lot of questions. Did they mummify giants? Are there giant mummies out there somewhere in the world hidden by private collectors? Yeah, guys, there could be mummified giants out there. Just saying. In other weirdness, we have what might be a hitchhiker effect or paranormal activity or both, caught live by Brandon Fugel.
The lights had gone off. And that's another thing. I overrid the lights an hour ago in order to... the system's on a timer for after hours usage. But anyways, I'll eventually not want to get up from my desk. And anyhow, it was funny. It was about 2 in the morning one night, weeks after I took delivery of the clown. And I'm just sitting here kind of winding down my day and warmed by the glow of this very laptop that I'm speaking to you through.
Lights flickering, some sort of paranormal activity or some extra normal activity. Now, the phenomenon, especially elements of the greater phenomenon, as I call it, the more paranormal stuff, often interacts with electricity. I used to do ghost hunting, and we would see this from time to time. We would see orbs interacting with the lights in a room. An orb would pulse, and the lights would go out, or a shadow being would pass through an archway, and again the lights would go out and then come back on. There's a really intriguing interactions between the phenomenon, the greater phenomenon, and electricity and lights. Of course, sometimes UFOs also have an effect on electricity as well. Really intriguing. Now, what's also really intriguing is that Carl the Crusher has been doing a lot of meditation, and he's been having some thoughts about the nature of reality, and he's been writing a book. Well, as he's been writing this book about the nature of reality, yeah, he's been experiencing the same thing. And here he is with intention going into a somewhat meditative state, actually bringing on this phenomenon of the flickering lights. Really, really amazing. So here he is going in, intentionally calming himself, meditating a little bit, I guess. And in a moment...
Now that I started to film, it's going to not do it.
But it does.
But basically, all of the lights in my whole house just started flashing on and off, like randomly, and like... See?
But it gets weirder. That's creepy. That's creepy.
Utility thing, but it was portal, and it did catch these waves of gamma radiation, and then you can see how the gamma waves like peak up and they pinch together while I was doing the meditation, and then all of a sudden you see over on the right side the power outage when the signal drops and we lose all the data. But if you want to see my whole journal entry and look at all that modular study that we're doing with Dr. Jim Segala.
Anyway, so really amazing, fascinating, creepy, bizarre stuff. I would love to understand what exactly is happening in Carl's case and also Brandon's case. So let me know your theories about that in the comments below. I just think that's super fascinating and probably important if we could figure that out. Let's see. Meanwhile, we've got Ross Coulthart and John Dover talking about portals.
Have you heard, one of the things that's interesting for us in this area is this talk of a portal at Bradshaw Ranch.
Right.
Have you heard of the portals?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We've got areas on our reservation that are like that. That would rival Skinwalker Ranch and other areas. And we just don't talk about them. We don't take people there.
Why not?
It's, I guess for us, we don't want people getting injured or disappearing. You know, you could actually walk into one of these things, not even see it, and inside of your whole camp just disappear. And, you know, that's where a lot of the missing 411 stuff is going. And I've talked to David Pilates about this.
This is an interesting case. This is a gentleman, I've watched his show, and it's fascinating. He investigates cases mainly in national parks, I've
Right.
noticed, where people are often 1 minute they're with a group of people, they're there just literally a few feet behind them, and then they disappear.
Right. And his latest film that he put out was Missing 411, the UFO connection. So he's starting to see a lot of this here and making the connections.
Yeah, I don't like making the connections between portals and the missing 411 situation. But yeah, David Pilates' research into the missing 411 phenomenon, I think is very important and, you know, very alarming, obviously. I think others also need to join in that research. It can't just come from one individual. I think that itself is problematic. Not that he is, you know, David is anyway inauthentic. I absolutely believe David in his research. But we do need more eyes on that situation and, you know, more people investigating that and coming to their own conclusions and sharing that with us. But the idea of portals on Bradshaw Ranch and other places is really intriguing. What does it mean, guys? You know, why do they even need portals if they can just, you know, go through space and there's, you know, UFOs that can go faster than the speed of light, jumping through dimensions or whatever? And why do they need portals on the ground if they can open up portals in the sky, which apparently they can do, or use the stars as portals? How does it all work? Maybe different races like different sorts of portals, different sorts of beings come through different portals. Some are more paranormal or metaphysical portals or other dimensional portals, and some are very real portals that you can just jump from one place in 3D space to another place in 3D space? Let me know what you think about all that in the comments below. Now, John Dover also has some thoughts about why the secret has been kept for so long.
So why do you think they're holding back on this secret? Because I think you're right. I suspect the government does know about this.
The first people to weaponize any of this technology, they'll be the king of the hill.
Which is sad.
Yeah. Because our holy people, the Yebiche, came to us and they tried to teach us not to kill, not to have war, not to steal, not to do all these things. And we don't listen.
Can I ask you this? Do you
Okay, now I totally agree with him. Obviously, if we could weaponize this UFO technology, whoever would do that would be the king of the hill. Yeah, I mean, he's right. But we have UFO technology. I mean, there's reliable information that, yeah, we have our own UFOs. We have reverse engineer technology. The control group does have this technology, and they've had it for a long time. We don't know what they are doing with it. But are there restrictions on their use of that technology? Because if it could be weaponized, they would be weaponizing it, right? We wouldn't have had to lose thousands of men and women in the recent wars, and we would have won them much quicker, and so on. There would be stories and evidence of these vehicles and this technology being used in theaters of war. So why aren't they using it in theaters of war? There are also various stories out there and pieces of evidence suggesting that beings who have been helping them with this technology have placed restrictions on their use of it, to the effect that they can't weaponize it, that is indeed a restriction placed on them. And even going back to World War II and the Germans in World War II, there are stories to that effect with that group of people as well. They were in contact with beings through the Vril Society, and they got some technology, and there were some limits placed on them, and they tried to circumvent them, and things went sideways. At least that's one version of the story. There are others. There's various scenarios that have been laid out. But yeah, the idea that the beings restrict the use of our technology and don't allow us to weaponize it go back a long ways. And since we do seem to have our own UFOs, and we would totally weaponize it to be the king of the hill, as John says, I think that the idea and the information about restricting our use of this technology must be real. But hey, that's just me. Let me know what you think about that. Are there restrictions placed on our use of UFO technology so that we can't use it in war? Let me know what you think. Last but not least, I mean, come on. This is just awesome. I mean, this will cooling my blood pressure. Cooling my blood pressure. Deer frolicking on an idyllic stream. Let me know what you think about these awesome deer frolicking on this awesome stream and everything else talked about today. In the comments below, like and subscribe. Hit the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media. There's Facebook, Twitter, Discord, and Rumble links below. Love to see you guys there. If you want to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, consider grabbing a coffee mug or a t-shirt in the merch store below, or by becoming a channel member. Channel members are rock stars, and I really do appreciate you guys' support. Thank you. Also, channel members frequently get to see videos hours ahead of everybody else. Meanwhile, there are plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.